Well, a good Monday, September 29th, 2025. We've got a special show for you tonight. We've got a special guest we'll bring on here in just a moment. But if we are meeting for the first time, hello, my name is Scott Watson. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Go Small, Live Large, all about the camper van travel experience, van life topics, and van life owners. If that's the kind of content you like, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumb up. We are taking questions tonight. We're really excited. I think we're the first channel on YouTube to be bringing you some of this information in a live stream format for sure. And I'm really excited to have you share that with us tonight. This was kind of the teaser because we are talking about new vans and new RVs that were just announced at the Elkhart RV Industry Open House that happened just last week. And if you're a longtime viewer, thank you again for being here tonight. We got a lot of things on the schedule for the next few weeks and months, so thank you for being here. Speaking of a few things coming up, if you want to visit, please, my website, which is gosmalllivelarge.com. We got a whole bunch of in-person events and streaming events planned over the next couple months, including campouts, quite a few of them at the beginning of 2026. So you want to go to gosmalllivelarge.com and see those events. And with that, what I'd like to do is bring on Mick from Winnebago Motor Homes, Rockford, Illinois. Good afternoon, Mick.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. If you don't know, let me splash this on the screen. This is Winnebago Motor Homes. I ask this every time, but maybe sometimes people don't know. Winnebago Motor Homes is where I bought my van, which next week, Mick, we picked delivery. We purchased it in June of 2018, picked up delivery in October, I think 6, 7, or 8 in 2018. So you've been a big part of our family for a very long time. Maybe just kind of give the folks how you got that really clever name and family owned, truly family owned, and just give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself. And then we'll kind of kick off with some of the content you saw at the Elkhart Industry Day or Industry RV Show. Yep. And just Winnebago Motor Homes, right, since 1967.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. My grandpa started it in 67. We are in the county of Winnebago, and also the whole family went to school in Winnebago High School, which is a small town of Winnebago, and that's where the name came from, and that's how we really originated. And just a family business that keeps growing, and hopefully keep great travel ideas for a lot of customers.
Yes, sir. And it's an exciting time to be in the RV business. It's always been a cyclical business, but the practice seems to keep getting better, and the industry at large, and Winnebago in particular, seems to keep really focusing on customer experience, which is great. And it's an exciting time too. We're going to talk about this, some RV systems, the lithium. I was an early adopter, so thank you for helping me with that. With my Volta system, which no longer is used by Winnebago, how ironic that is. But maybe just this is their website, WinnebagoMotorhomes.com, and I'll splash this up. We'll talk about this toward the end, but you folks do service as well. And where is Rockford in relation to Chicago?
We're like O'Hare, we're about an hour and 20 minutes northwest of O'Hare, down Chicago area, and so we're right in the north central part of Illinois.
And I kind of chuckle, having lived many years in Chicago. O'Hare from downtown is about 12 miles and takes you an hour. Yep. And you drive 90 miles and you're in Rockford 1 hour later. It's pretty funny. So again, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about what this Elkhart Open House is. I'll put this on the screen. They bill it as the largest RV dealer show on earth. And it's not open to the public. It's only for RV dealers. So maybe just kind of give us an overview. This is the first time they've done this. Have they been doing this for a few years? Is it growing every year with success? Just give us a little background on it, please.
Yeah, and I don't really know for sure, but originally in around November timeframe, we used to always do it in Louisville, Kentucky. And now here the last handful of years, it's been in right there in Elkhart. And we do a lot, that's where a lot of the dealers are, not dealers, but manufacturers are. And so it makes it convenient for them. And also a lot of suppliers and stuff like that are in that same area. So I think it just makes it a whole lot simpler and easier for the manufacturers and suppliers to be right there in that Elkhart area.
Yeah, I've never been. I've been invited a few times, but the scheduling didn't never worked out. There's quite a few YouTube channels that do go. I think the Roos's were there. Hank Stranger Palooza was there. We see a number of folks in here. We'll say hi here in a few minutes, and if you can help us out with the question format, if you have a question for Mick, and they kind of focus only on Winnebagos, right? Right, Mick? Are you guys
Yeah.
carrying Storyteller and a million other brands, or
Yeah, just strictly
experts?
Winnebago dealer, and we have been, forever. We have had other manufacturers in here from time to time, but we've always had Winnebago and just kind of always kept with that Winnebago brand.
So you're Winnebago experts. That's great. So we're going to kind of have Mick kind of walk us through what he saw that was new from Winnebago and some of the other brands. Winnebago, if you're not aware, is a pretty big company. They own not only do RVs, both towables and motorhomes, but they have boats. Chris Craft is actually owned by Winnebago, and they bought Lithionics a few years ago. So it's great to be outdoors in a Winnebago product, or really any van for that matter. But just kind of give us a little bit. You sent me some pictures. What are some of your top takeaways, Mick, on the camper van segment in particular? That'd be the Class B RV.
Yeah, the class, Winnebago had, did introduce a few new items there at the show. They did do a nice upgrade to the Travato here at about 25 and a half. So a lot of new exciting upgrades there. They also did some updating to the Solus product as well. The Solus PX always had just that Murphy bed configuration. On the P model, the smaller Solus, we had the option of the Murphy bed, and then also the sofa bed. Well, and they never offered that in the PX with the larger Solus. Well, that is now going to be an availability on the PX to have that option for that sofa bed, which is going to give you a couple more seat belts for travelers, but still convert into a bed as well. So I think that'll be a nice little hit to the Solus lineup. And so they're always coming up with new ideas there, that's for sure. And a lot of neat, and if you want me to go into detail on the new upgrades to the Travato, but a lot of nice upgrades there that they've listened to the customer. They kind of got rid of that outside shower or outside water hookup. They brought that back. We still have the inside hookup. We have the outside hookup. We got some new exciting interior colors, new exciting exterior colors. A lot of nice new features for the Travato.
Which is always great to hear. And we do have a few pictures. We have an Ekko coming up here in just a moment, but this is kind of like the beta. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mick, but it's kind of like this is an RV show just for dealers to kind of show what they're experimenting with, some of the beta. Some of these never make it to the public shows, like the Super Show in Tampa in January. So we don't have a lot of pictures because they didn't let you take pictures generally, and you won't find much of this on the manufacturer websites yet. So because again, they're taking this feedback from dealers like Mick and then implementing it to make a lot of the previews at the Super Show in Tampa in January. Tell us about the Travato. We mentioned the water system. So the way it used to work, like on mine, 2019 version, the water inlet was on the outside on the driver's side, I think. Yes, and then they moved all that inside, which was not a huge hit for a lot of folks. So is that the water thing you're talking about?
It is. And I still think it's a nice idea. They moved everything inside for less holes on the side of your van. Everything's inside, and I think for water, weather, and stuff like that, having everything inside made a lot of sense as well. And with a B van, I don't think. And everyone uses them different. So, there's not a right or a wrong way to use that van. Everyone uses it different ways. But I just feel like that van's very mobile. And to be at one spot for an extended period of time is probably not real likely, but you can. So not having that on the outside, I really didn't think was that big of a drawback. I kind of liked having less holes in the side of my van, keeping everything inside where I can keep temperature control, stuff like that. If you do, but customers complained they wanted that on the outside, so they brought it back. We still have it inside, but we have that port outside again as well. A new smart plug a little easier to plug that van in instead of that twist lock where you twist it and turn it. This is just a snap-in plug. It made life a little bit easier for that. And like I said, it upgraded interiors, different options there, a little more insulation on our window coverings for that. Um, Interior colors have changed, exterior color graphics have changed. Just some update and something new, and bring a little more life back into that Travato, which has been, probably the #1 selling B van in the market.
Yeah, it has like a 50% market share for good reason. I'm not sure if you knew this, Mick. We're going to ask about the Rebel next. I'm going to show this picture of the Ekko, and we got some questions coming in. But I actually spent the night in a Travato K floor plan before I had my crash. So that'd be back in what, March? What's the month before March? February, I guess. And I always kind of poo-pooed that floor plan. I had to apologize to the audience and to 59K, or really any twin bed, bathroom in the back floor plan owner, and I was pretty smitten. I can see why that's probably the most popular, because it's wide open, and as a solo traveler, it can remove the one bed cushion and kind of remake that into functional space. So any updates on the GL? We're going to talk about systems here in a minute. One person's asked about the lithium system, but if you think to the what was my question? I just lost it. Sorry.
I think you're asking about the different floor plans, maybe in the G and the GL and the
Yeah,
K and KL.
those.
And the G is still there, but the GL is I can no longer do the GL. The KL is there. I can still do a lithium package in the KL with a lithionics package, or the standard K or the standard G as well. The K or the KL lithium, I gotta grab my notes so I don't mess that up, but they changed it to kilowatt hours. Now the rating on the lithium, and the standard is 8.4, and then you can do the upgraded, which is get you the 16.8
Wow.
kilowatt hours. And just it's always a question you always get. I mean, how long is it going to last? How long can I run my air? And there's so many variables there. It's kind of hard to say for sure. But like I fired up one just to demonstrate today, and I turned it on, high cool, high fan, and on the display there, it gave me over 15 hours at that usage. And that one has the upgraded battery pack in it. So
That's a lot.
even if you don't have that upgraded battery pack, I mean, just you go 8 hours or so with that. I mean, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Because more than likely that next day you're traveling, you're going to recharge that. We still have our secondary alternator on there. So it recharges that very quickly going down the road. Within a couple hours, you're going to be fully charged.
Yep.
So it just makes it very nice.
It's very cool. Tell us about what you saw around the Revel, because that was just a home run for Winnebago, and people want to get a little more off grid. You see anything exciting around they had some big changes, improvements at the
Revel's
yep.
lithionics package is really basically the same now on they took what was in the Revel and put that in the Travato KL. So they've been using that same system in the Revel for a little while. And there's they got the 44E or the Sport version, which is kind of the Sport would have been what the Revel was a couple years back, basically.
I gotcha. Yeah, they made some nice improvements. It looked really good at the Super Show in Tampa this January 2025. So
they did make new racks on there, stuff like that, and that happened about a year ago as well. But then now they kind of dressed up the paint options and stuff like that on it also. So,
well, everybody wants to look pretty.
Yep.
Driving around in their van. So let's show the Ekko, then we'll get to some questions here, because I thought this was pretty stunning. We've got a question here about the Ford Transit, which I think this is a picture of the new Ekko. So this is kind of a new exterior
and
look.
That is, yep, one of the new exterior full body paints that they weren't. I'm pretty 99% sure that's going to be coming. But there again, that's one of the things they're taking some dealer feedback on. If they're going to introduce that or not. But it sounds like it probably will. The paint, at least, they are talking about maybe an overland package that may come with some upgrades on it as well. That's still up in the air.
That's really cool. We've seen some modify Echoes out in the wild, and they're just the coolest looking. It looks like the CIA is rolling in,
Yeah.
like matte black and lifted, and still two variants, right? Sprinter and Ford Transit. This is a Transit. It looks like.
Yep.
Is that correct?
22A is on the Ford Transit, and 23B is on the Mercedes platform.
And continues to be a great seller. Is that right?
Floor plans are very, very, similar, and but the main difference is that about 1.5 feet longer. On the Ekko version, we do have a chance for a third bed in that dinette area that you can convert into a bed that we just don't have room in the 22A. And a little bit more exterior storage, but still either one of them has that gear garage, which is huge.
Yeah, it's just stunning. The pass through and 3 access points to that garage. I mean, it's pretty crazy. There's a few of the audience live members here tonight that actually have Echoes, so we love our Echoes. Let's say hi to some folks. We got some questions. So we got Miguel coming in from Okeechobee. Had a nice meeting with him. We've got some plans early next year to do some fun things together for the greater community. Here is Betty from California. Here's Bobby, Steve, and Wilbur. Wilbur's our dog. It's so funny. Wilbur sits on a chair when he's at camp. As he's here's Alan from St. Louis. Appreciate you being here. Here's Sherry from Wisconsin. Thanks for the update, Scott and Mick. Very good. No problem. We've got a few more for you. Here's Kim and Tim from Fort Worth, Texas. One of the great places on earth. Here's Ohio TJ saying hello from Ohio. Here's Justin from watching from Rochester, New York. Miguel has the question, any update for Ekko 2026? So we just kind of showed you the picture, Miguel. Was there anything else that stuck out in your mind, Mick, on this particular rig?
No, not really. Not much changes there other than possibly, like I say, that other exterior graphics that might be coming on, and possibly down the road that Overland package, but that's going to be down the road a little bit.
Yeah, and that would be, I think, pretty popular. And let's see, we've got Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. So where's a new 2026 Travato GL with the lithionics? So are they going to keep the Murphy bed floor plan, or?
Like I said, the G floor plan's still there, but they do not offer the G with the lithionics option.
Interesting. Dear Winnebago, let's all write a letter. That's kind of interesting. Maybe that will change. And their implementation of lithionics has been pretty successful, I would say. We sure hate to see the Volta go, but
yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about that Volta system. I love that system. It does a great job. Winnebago's been using lithionics, like I say, in the Revel, and that's basically the same platform that they brought over and put in the Travato. So that's going to do great things as well. That battery's been tested. It's UL approved. It's a great little system there as well.
Yeah, it's really great, and just the freedom, the untethered freedom of having a lithium equipped coach is. I mean, I couldn't do what I do without having a lithium package, and mine now is what's the math? So 2005 to 2018, got 150,000 miles on the rig now, and she charges, she discharges, she runs the AC. It's just like the day I drove it off your lot.
Nobody's used that Volta system like you have, I don't think, and how it's worked and how it's continued to work over the years. It shows you how great of a system that is.
Yeah, it's been so bulletproof for me. Here's David saying, I'm definitely going to purchase a Travato GL in the future when I sell my home. Well, you're talking to a guy that would sell you one. And you guys Winnebago Motor Homes, Rockford, Illinois, sells used equipment and consignment equipment. Is that well? Yep, so sure maybe you have access to one.
Yep.
Let's see. Here's a question. So maybe feedback for Mick. Miguel says, is there any way we can have an L shape in the Ekko Ford Transit? I think he's talking about the seating area up front.
Yeah, we don't have enough room for it at the way that platform is. There's just not enough room for that, like what's in the 23B.
There you go. And then here's Kev Lev. Mick has a question. Why doesn't Winnebago offer a pop top on the Travato? So the Solus is they got pop tops, but the Travato,
The Solus is our pop top version. The KL or the K or the G or whichever way it is. Trim level is going to be kind of a step above what that Solus is. But with the features and options that are in it, that just really doesn't give us that option for that pop top. Now, not to say it won't ever happen, but at the moment, Winnebago, the pop top is strictly in the Solus, and the Travato is definitely more of a two-person or a single-person van, maybe three people. You can use that air-up mattress between the driver passenger seat and get a third in there. But I truly feel that's more of a two or a single-person van.
Yeah. Whereas the Solus lineup, depending on the size and configuration, you can pick up a lot of people in there. And I did actually stay the night earlier this year in a road trek product, Mick, that had a pop top, and I swore I didn't get the whole pop top thing. And now I'm like, next van, probably gonna have a pop top. It's like having a tent on top of your van. It was a completely different and very cool experience. Your Solus customers know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely for I feel that Solus product or that pop top is definitely for the younger family. Kids love it. It's just a great experience, a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. We've got here's Jericho basically saying he lived in his Travato for 8 months, full time, worked, had access to a guard shack bathroom to use the toilet facility. So, yeah, people love their Travatos. They are loyal to the end. Let's talk a little bit about some of the trends you saw. So, I've some of the feedback I've gotten over the years is the van is just a little too small. We want to go bigger, but we don't want to go Class A bus size. So there's a C that's kind of in between a B and an A. I don't know how they come up with these alphabet things,
Yeah.
but I think if we want to talk about some of the trends you're seeing, not only in Winnebago, but some of the other brands, I think this is one you gave me some pictures on. This is on a Ford cutaway chassis. It looks like. What are we looking at here, Mick?
That's the new Sunflyer. That's going to take the place of the Mini Winnie name. They just kind of rebranded it Sunflyer, which was an old Winnebago name as well. But they're going to offer that in 4 different floor plans. One that's very similar to the Ekko with that twin bed configuration, no slide. And then you got 3 other floor plans that they're coming very similar to the 22M, which we had. That's going to be there also. A new 26MB, which is going to be a Murphy bed, which is going to be very, very similar to like a 24D View Murphy bed. And then we also have another floor plan that that's going to, I can't remember the name or the letters they used for that, but 26FE, which is going to be very close to our 29 National Park one that we have sitting here now. That floor plan has stayed. And so that's going to be here as well in that Sunflyer lineup. So it gives us those 4 different lineups there. But all of them are going to be, under 30 foot in length. And especially that 26MB, when you see that in real life, that floor plan is open and it's just a beautiful floor plan for that.
And before we went live on the show, he gave me these pictures earlier today, and I'm like, well, this must be the Class A. And he's like, no, this is the Sunflyer Murphy bed, and it's one big slide. It looks like to me, but the pictures you were seeing of the one slide up that just has the bed. So this actually is a Class C motorhome right here you're looking at, which is stunning.
The huge. I mean, you look at that and you think you're in a Class A, and it just really gives you a super open floor plan. It even has a little coffee bar in there. It's new. It's stunning. I think it's going to be a hit.
Yeah, I totally get. I mean, again, if you need some more room for kids for stuff, I don't know why it is always the smallest rake has the most people and the biggest dogs. So this could be an option for them. But let me just kind of show you. This is a wet bath versus a dry bath versus a wet bath. Maybe you can just explain to the folks if they're not familiar. But what's the difference between a dry bath and a wet bath? This is definitely a dry.
Yeah, in the B vans, you're going to see that wet bath. Most of the time in a mini home or something like that, you won't have it. But a wet bath is, your shower, bathroom, all in one room. So when you take a shower, everything does get wet in there. Now, the exception to that is the Ekko 22A or 23B, that has that movable wall, which kind of protects that, which is kind of a wet bath, but it is very well, it's protected. So it really classified as a dry bath. And, but there again, that's Winnebago's Class C. Some manufacturers may call that like a B plus, but there's really not a B plus classification if you RVIA or whatever you want to call it. Just
Technically, right? Yeah.
Right.
And normally this is when you see a Class C, this is the silhouette you see. It's the bed over the cab.
It's going to be that E450 or E350 cutaway chassis, and
Yep.
more of that typical Ford cutaway.
And I love this look. It's really modern, sleek, European even. Looking through, we look at the galley there on the left, and the bathrooms there on the way down the hallway, and that big beautiful bed. It's a very handsome unit, the Sunflyer. And I can't get over the size of this thing. What other trends, Mick, did you see at the show, Winnebago or otherwise, on a little bit larger size? Is there a trend toward off-road? Is there kind of this hybrid approach across the lines?
Yeah, I still think there's still the Class A's are still there. They're still building those Class A's. There's still a market for that, but it does definitely seem like everything is trending towards that smaller side. For more people, I mean, there's still a lot of people that use that Class A and go full time in, but definitely that market seems to be getting smaller. Definitely going to that, the Class C's, B's, B pluses, if someone wants to call it that. That's where the trend is going. More versatility, because I keep saying there's no right or wrong way to use one, because the way one person uses it is not the way the next person's going to use it. And that smaller market seems like that gives those customers that flexibility to go and use it the way they see fit, the way they want to use it, and we can make it work for them.
Yeah, and that's great kind of feedback, right? And until you actually get your hands behind the wheel, put it in drive, and get moving, it's kind of hard to really understand this. But the thing I've kept noticing as trends is systems, toilet systems, and the electrical systems. So we've got some other great questions in here, but maybe just take a minute and kind of tell us a little bit about what you saw around some of the systems. There's a cassette versus regular question coming up. So just kind of what did you see across the brands with systems?
Because the cassette toilet is something that we use in the Solus. It's something that we use in the Ekkos, and that is more of a removable tank for your toilet, 6 gallons. Again, for that customer that maybe will never end up in a campground. I mean, you can pull that cassette toilet and walk into a public restroom or your house or wherever you want, and dump that system. It's sealed. It's not gross by no means. It's got two seals on it, so it makes it very, very sanitary, very, very easy to use and to dump. Other systems that you see, coming is just a variety of lithium systems out there. Connectivity, the View is a great one for that. Is that connectivity in that View product with lithium. A little more off-grid capabilities there with the new lithium package on those. I mean, we still have some like 25Ds in our inventory too, with diesel gens that people love to have that diesel generator, which is no longer an option with the newer systems. The diesel generators are unfortunately kind of getting phased out, where those are still very, very sought after systems. And even if a guy doesn't want all that connectivity, or maybe you want to spend all that money on a lithium, I mean, you can get into a 24D View 2025 for, up to about 30 grand less than what you can on the new R's, T's, and D's.
Wow. That's a lot of alphabet soup there. But makes the experts, so call him. What about, we have a question about an awning, and what about solar? Solar is still a hot topic, or is that with
Pretty
lithium?
much every B product that Winnebago builds, every C product Winnebago builds, I mean, it's going to have solar on it nowadays. And everyone keeps always asking me, well, what can I run on solar that I can't without? And then the solar is not going to let you run anything more than what that system's designed. It ain't going to run anything more. It's just going to let that battery last longer. It's a way to prolong the life of that battery. It ain't going to make you run anything more or do anything different if you don't have it, but it's going to make our batteries last longer if we're, off grid.
Yeah, kind of that trickle charge, but yeah, definitely not enough to charge it to run the AC full time. We got a couple questions in here, and this one's a tricky one. This is from JJ. He says, if the RV is sitting on the asphalt in Miami, let's say, can the AC bring the temperature down inside down to 68 degrees and maintain it for 10 hours on lithium? The caveat is,
That's hard. Yeah. I mean, you've
yes
got
and
to,
no, right?
yeah, I don't, that's going to be a tough one. If I had that new lithionic system out there, when 10 hours we're going to get out of that sun in our evening hours, we might have a fighting chance of doing that.
Yeah.
But to think you're going to be out there all day long baking on blacktop, I mean, that's asking a lot.
I agree, and I think in a van you'd be lucky on the outside, but in an Ekko, where they're built very differently, very much a thermodynamic difference versus steel skin that's got a little bit of insulation between the inside and the outside, makes a dramatic difference. If you have an Ekko, raise your hand if that's true. So that's a tricky one. There's a lot of variables. Here's Richard saying, glad you're back, Scott. Every day is a blessing. Thank you. I can actually, if you are a Patreon member, you saw my video hopefully today where I this very day, March 29, 2025 is when I had my seizure while driving and I crashed the van. Not my van, thankfully. And so this day, 6 months ago, I was in the hospital for 4 days, 4 nights, really. So every day is a blessing. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. Ohio TJ, Mick has a question here. Will the Ekko ever come with anything other than a cassette toilet system? Sound like they're pretty baked in.
They are. That is, again, I think that that Ekko, that cassette just gives you that versatility. If you're not someplace where you have a dump site or something like that, it just gives us that versatility to keep trucking, keep going.
It's a tried and true. So very popular in Europe. And it's a very popular toilet system. It's really the only one I've never tried, so I don't have any personal experience with it. But
I think with the Ekko too, the big thing on the Ekko is you talked about that insulation value. That's really truly the only 4-season camper I know out there. Winnebago has tested and run that thing into 13, 14, 10-degree weather and still use that system, because all of our, that with that cassette toilets in there where we're heated, our gray tanks above floor line where it's heated, and that sidewall on that Ekko is insulated like you wouldn't believe, and it just gives us that, again, that versatility with that cassette toilet to use it in a lot of different weathers. And everyone talks about the cold, but just think of the advantage too, and that guy sitting out on the blacktop in Florida having that insulation value there to help keep you cool also.
Yeah, it's really a total system. The thermodynamics, you have the biggest battery, but if it's in a tin can that has no insulation and you're sitting in the sunlight where it's 95 degrees outside and 90% humidity, it's going to be uphill. At least with Ekko or something like that, you're going to have even the Sunflyer, you'd have a little bit better chance because it's a different construction method.
Different build.
Right? Yeah. So JJ is doing a follow-up saying, when he asks that kind of a thermal question, got to have a 68 degree in the van in summertime in Miami? No, probably not. But so with my van coming up, what is that? So 2025 to 2018, we're going to be doing some tests on like the AC system, Mick, with my Volta system for things like that to show the endurance of some of these systems. And the coach build out itself has had my fridge is still running. I had to replace a water pump once. So, Winnebago makes a really solid product, which has been great. I do have an awning issue, but you guys tried to fix it. That was from my van getting rear-ended. So that was not Winnebago's fault. Speaking of awnings, Mick, Alan's got a question here. What are the advantages of the new Girard awning? So maybe help us understand what
If a person were
awnings
to
are.
look at that Gerard awning and look at the Carefree awning, the mechanism and stuff is very, very similar. I mean, that's still, to look at it's a cased awning, the armless awning, little scissor action, the arms up by the fabric. So that's very, very similar, but it is a little more robust. That Gerard is a little heavier duty. Still has one sensor, still has connectivity like the Carefree. So it just gives us a little more durability.
Yeah. And some people have experienced a Carefree awning that wasn't carefree at all. Unfortunately, I never had that experience. But so Kim has a question here, Mick. Are they, being Volta or is it Winnebago or neither, supporting the older Volta equipped vans? So assuming there's some warranty work because they were being sold up until last year, I think, or something like that.
Yep.
Just where does it stand on a
Yep. Winnebago's still standing behind all the Volta systems. They have all the parts and pieces for that system, so that's not I can service older Volta systems. I can warranty the newer Volta systems. That's not an issue.
Nice. Maybe I'll come see you. Although I'm having no problem, so I'd like to see it anyway. We'll have to have another meetup up in Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here, Sparks guy has got a question. Didn't Winnebago buy lithionics? That was a few years ago, right?
Yep, it was.
And so let's see. Looking for. So Miguel's got a question here. Why is it so hard to find an American European style interior? That's kind of what the brands are. They kind of get their interior aesthetics, and that's kind of where they go. But the Winnebagos that you showed and I saw in the Super Show this year in January, they are a lot more sleek, contemporary. I would say, arguably, kind of European in nature. Is that kind of what the trend you're seeing?
Definitely. I think if you're looking for that European style, I mean, that Travato has it. The View products has that kind of styling and look. So that's definitely got that look if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Let's see if we got there's a couple more topics we want to talk about, including some buyer advice for first timers, upgraders, down traders, cross traders for Mick, and then talk about some of the availability on these. Again, the open house show is kind of a beta look into the future for the dealers. So maybe just Mick, talk to us a little bit about what the availability is from some of those units and when they get their hands on them.
Like the Sunflyer, there's 4 models in the new Sunflyer. 2 of them are going to be probably introduced right around the first of the year, maybe a little bit before the first of the year. And then the other 2 are going to be more towards springtime. And that's the larger ones are going to be more towards springtime. The smaller ones is what they're building first. The upgrades to the Travato are out there now. The upgrades, to that View product are out there now. Available, and I've got them sitting on the lot that I can show you right now.
There you go. Let's see. I'm curious. We talked about some of the trends. Are you seeing, Mick, a trend toward deletion of propane where there's a single source of fuel? I think the Travato K was the first one to come out with a Trima with gasoline from the engine. Is that a trend you're seeing?
I'm sorry that I should have mentioned that first as far as the changes, because that is one of those changes that came. And you take a KL, there is no LP tank on that KL whatsoever anymore. We got the induction cooktop, and then your furnace and water heat is all done by gasoline. There is no need for LP or to go look for LP any longer on that KL product.
That is so cool. Hopefully you're not having a lightning storm there in your rig.
Yeah, we're having, unfortunately, in this area, we're having problems with ComEd. So,
that's interesting.
Provider, but
I thought you might be in Florida. Our power goes out about every 3 minutes around here sometimes. Let's see. Let's talk about some buying advice. We'll go just a few more minutes. We got a great crowd here tonight. Appreciate that. And maybe just from a dealer perspective, if you're looking for an RV for the first time, what's the advice would you have for first-time buyers? And if people are upgrading, whether they've had a Travato and they've just found it to be too small, they want something a little bit bigger, like the Sunflyer. What are some of the advice from your many decades in business that you would offer folks?
Like for that guy that's in a B van or something, that's just not enough room for him. we do have a lot of little, options for you. The Sunflyer, and that View product, again, that's on that Mercedes-Benz Sprinter chassis. It's still not as wide as what the Sunflyer would be. We're going to be 6 inches narrower. So if you want to stay a little bit smaller, but yet still have a little more room, that definitely is an option for you. Or you can go to that cutaway Ford E50 or E450 chassis and get a lot more room there as well. And for that first time buyer, come in and I love to spend time with you, or go to your local dealer, spend some time with that dealer, and bounce ideas off them, and get in the vehicle, feel the vehicle. You can do a lot of shopping online, but it's still not like being in that vehicle and getting some input from your dealer to help answer some of those questions, and give you different scenarios, or maybe give you something that you didn't think about. And I don't really know what to tell you right now because I haven't talked to you, but when you come in and we start getting conversations back and forth, kind of figure out how you're going to use it, well, then I may have a lot more opinions for you to help you with that decision.
Yeah. And I always like to say that, you're making a sizable investment in money and in your future buying an RV, and you're investing in your dealer relationship too. And my advice to people is you're kind of interviewing the dealer experience as much as you are test driving the floor plan, because if all they want to do is say what the guy on the lot today and they want to deposit right away, you're probably not talking to somebody like Mick and the team that's going to give you all the time you wanted, to really understand your needs, as he says. Because I think choosing the right dealer, you may not always get the lowest price, but man, lowest price doesn't give you the best experience in a lot of cases. So
I feel it's a whole package. You
yeah,
got to have, you got to have a dealer that's going to be here to help you. I always say before the sale, during that sale, and after the sale. And we're a Winnebago dealer, for over 50 years, and every year that they offered that customer satisfaction award, whatever they may call it at the time, now it's the Flying W award. We have got it every year since. And that's voted on by our customers. That's the only way we get it. You'll get a survey, when you buy the vehicle or after you had that first warranty issue, and that's the only way we can get that award, and that's voted on by our customers. And
yeah, it's pretty spectacular. A lot of RV dealers like to say family owned, and that's true. General RV is family owned by Mr. General RV himself, but here you're actually talking to the guy that runs the company, Mick, and the team. And Terry's his dad, and so the whole team is there. And I think that's really special that it's a family run, and you're dealing with the family, not a bunch of folks that are, the drill. Talk to us about upgraders, and then I'll look for some more questions. So you folks take trade-ins, do consignments. So if somebody's wanting to trade the van in for a Sunflyer, how does that work?
yep, we sure would love that. Right now our used inventory is kind of thin right now, so I definitely would love that. That's for sure. And sometimes we do it over the phone or over the internet, and shoot me some pictures and stuff like that. Even if you're not real local, we can do it over the internet, get some pictures of what you have, and I can sure get you some ideas that way as well, and try to make it as easy and trouble-free for you, no matter where you're at.
Yeah, and these Winnebago, you're one of two dealers that I really crow about, because I put an order in for my van. We got it 6 months later in October, and I was going out to Rockford to make videos in his vans. So they were super patient with me, which is pretty awesome. I'll never forget that. Let me put this on the screen. It looks like we're just we got everybody's questions answered. So again, this is Winnebago Motor Homes, and this is not a sponsored video tonight. We just want to get Mick's thoughts from the open house and some of the new announcements from Winnebago. So again, they sell new, pre-owned, consignment, to do consignments. Then service is a big thing. Fall's coming up, and if you're staying around the Midwest, winter's coming. So do you guys winterize RVs? Is that a pretty big thing you guys do?
That'll get fired up here as soon as it starts getting cold. But right now we almost hit 90 today, so not a lot of people are thinking about that yet. But it's around the corner, and we'll sure be here to take care of that. And we always run a special. We do a multi-point inspection when we do that winterizing. Give you ideas of what we feel may need to be done to help keep that traveling life easy and simple and carefree for you.
And you can always get some service done and come down to Florida. There's a lot of things happening in the van space in Florida starting in January. So including stuff with Go Small, Live Large. We've got a number of things going on I'm really excited about. So again, if you could check out my website, gosmalllivelarge.com. We do meetups, convoys, campouts. We have Zooms. We have live streams like this. We no longer do the What's Up Wednesday. That was one of the things I had to stop when I was convalescing, but now we're going to do these things a little more ad hoc, topic based, which I think is cool. And if you want to kind of do a little bit behind the scenes, you can join our Patreon community. I call them patrons. It's a $0 level, and there's a whopping $10 level, and we've got two really exciting Patreon events coming up. Once tomorrow night for everybody on my Patreons, which is several hundred now. We're doing a all Patreon Zoom, and then we're doing breakfast on the beach for the Go Small, Live Large Patron Explorer, $10 a month level, folks. And so we're excited about all that. Mick, any last thoughts from the show or from the business in general, or everything?
Yeah, the show is not just, just to throw it out there, that the show is just not manufacturers. There's also suppliers there that supply a lot of the parts for that vehicle too. So you get around and get to talk to some of those people as well and get different ideas. And so it makes it very enjoyable for the dealer to get different ideas and help the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's all about getting out there. There's nothing worse than selling a van or an RV and then taking it back 2 years later and it still has only 9,000 miles on it, right? That just got to hurt your heart. That means we didn't do our jobs right somehow. But Nick, Mick, we just want to say thank you so much for taking time on a Monday. You're back from Elkhart and setting this up. The whole team did a great job. So thank you to Allie and Tricia and the whole Winnebago Motor Homes Rockford, Illinois team. And thanks everybody for watching tonight. And we're going to cut this video into a smaller chunk and upload it so you can get some of those good questions answered in a smaller format. So if we weren't able to stick around tonight, but we had a great crowd in here. And last thoughts, Mick?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for everything and for the people that joined in today and gave us some great questions and feedback. And if you have any questions, we're always here to help you, even if it's just a question. So we'll be here for you and help you any way we can. Well
said, sir. Stay right there in the studio. Thank you, everybody at home watching the live or the rebroadcast. And hope to see a lot of you on the Patreon Zoom tomorrow night and a new video being released on Wednesday. So we'd like to say journey on. And I'm really excited to get my journey back on because I can start driving on Wednesday, October 1st. So after 6 months, I'm ready to get behind the wheel. So with that, we'll say, yes, well, that's the thing, right? Might have to be the spring. Yep. But thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll say journey on. Peace be with you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.